I wasn't even plugged in. Didn't even have the headset plugged in. I'm going, why am I here? I'm hearing it through the personal Zoom. You don't even have the button on.
You got to be plugged in.
I'm watching it in the personal Zoom. I'm talking to Gibby. All of a sudden I hear the show open. I'm going, wait a second. Where's my... Wasn't even plugged in.
That's how this week's going.
Look, it's summer.
There's an eye on the summer break, and it's coming quick.
You're going to get my absolute best. I'm giving you 100%.
Okay. Safe, pal.
Yeah.
Get the people all they want. That's all you need.
Keep going back to your crypto. Let me know when you're fully engaged.
Not me.
Hey, listen, it was a great run early, and it's been a little bit tougher in the crypto streets. But that's why you always got to take your profits. You got to take your profits.
Yeah.
Nobody
that's it.
Ever went broke taking a profit.
Wise words, private school. Did you watch Trae Young last night? Did you watch any of that?
46 or something?
48 and 11?
Yeah.
48.
I like him. I want Trae Young.
I do too.
I'm all in on Hawks Suns. That's all I want. Give me Hawks Suns.
That'd be fun.
And that's what I want. And I'll actually, I threw a little bit of the game on. I haven't watched, a ton of NBA. Their ratings through the roof. Congratulations to them.
Their ratings are doing great.
Good. Do you think that it was just a function of there are a lot of people that put, reasons on? I think it was the fact that it was in the bubble is not nearly as compelling as watch this, and it wasn't at the time it was supposed to be. This is.
I think the one thing we can learn that we learned from the last year is, and you can point to the Masters, the U.S. Open, you can point to, we like things to happen in a certain timely fashion within the calendar where we expect them. And when you move it, even due to a pandemic, and you start to, it's not where we're used to it. And we don't. So I think that's a part of it. I think another part of it is, and certainly this applied in the NBA, it was pretty sterile.
Yeah.
You miss the fans. You miss the excitement that comes with it. I think the only sport that wasn't damaged by a lack of fans was the NFL.
That's right.
Because of how it's shot. You really didn't notice if you were on TV that much. The other sports, it was alarmingly so. So, yeah, I think all those things are factors. Then I think also, look, there's some fresh faces here. These guys are fun. Trae Young's fun. Giannis is fun, when he finally shoots a free throw. You think about Devin Booker's fun. Like, it's a fun group. And we saw the same characters, a combination of Steph, LeBron, for a decade.
That's the international symbol for you bore me.
Yeah.
New blood. This is exciting.
It is. It's fun. It is fun.
Trae Young's nasty.
I wanted to run this by you. I have a theory. Well, it's more of a comparison.
Okay.
Is it fair to say that the current way that we play NBA that allows for someone of Trae Young's build and range, the range allows for the build, is a byproduct of the fact that the NBA took hand check out, took the physicality out of the game, flagrant ones, flagrant twos. He would have been bludgeoned 20 years ago had he played. He'd be bludgeoned. Someone of his frame would not be able to dominate the ball the way that he does, would not be on the ball the way that he is, would not get those shots that he was able to get. And I wonder if there is a comparison to, from an NFL perspective, the taking out of the knock your head off guy in the middle of the field on the crossing patterns. And then that allowed for Wes Welker to catch 120 passes, for Julian Edelman to operate in those places, for tight ends to operate in the seam without having to worry about getting their heads knocked off by an Atwater or a Lott or a Chuck Cecil, those type of things. And I'm wondering if those are two similar places.
And to your point, they also took away your ability to get your hands on a receiver. You can't contact the receiver within 5 yards. Which is similar to hand checking. Yeah, that would be an interesting study. Because, for example, I'm thinking of Trae Young, and then I'm thinking of Joe Dumars literally in his shorts, all over him.
Holding him,
grabbing him,
pushing him, checking him, elbows, all of it.
Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Now, they're so good with the handle and the step backs and all of those things, but it's apples to avocados, as I like to say.
There was a shot yesterday where he crossed up whoever from the Bucks was guarding him, and he got in the lane and just took like an unencumbered floater. It actually led to a Bucs timeout. It was in the first half. Just took an unencumbered floater. And I thought, 20 years ago, he probably gets decked. Like, if this were even the Doc Rivers Celtics with Perk and KG, he gets knocked over. He's falling hard to the ground on his backside. Like, they've taken that out. That is out of the game. There is no fear. We saw this on the Aiden alley-oop the other day, the game winner. There's no rim protectors, and there's no enforcers, and there's no fear. So somebody who weighs would appear – he can't weigh 200 pounds,
no, he's
can he?
180.
Okay, there you go. A 180-pound dude, that slight of frame, being able to operate and move and get open and not have to worry about being smoked is similar to the underneath crossing stuff that a lot of these smaller receivers are able to make hay on.
Totally.
There's no fear.
I mean, you think back, Tim Hardaway had the killer crossover, and in that era could still get himself open and get separation. And I think Trae Young would still be a very effective scorer. He could score, but, yeah, he's not going down there. Go watch Allen Iverson highlights of when AI would go to the basket. He would get annihilated, absolutely annihilated. And, yes, the fear isn't there, and if somebody does foul you hard, you know you're getting 2 shots, the ball, they're probably getting ejected. So – in some cases, it's the juice is worth the squeeze to take a hard foul in the NBA. It's a totally different game. I'll be honest. I was always an offensive guy. Probably comes as a huge surprise to everybody in the audience. A shock that I think it makes for a more entertaining brand of basketball. I mean, you remember the days of the either Bulls Knicks or Pistons Knicks when the Knicks had
Pacers,
Oakley and Anthony Mason,
Knicks.
Pacers. And it'd be like 72-68 and just beating on each other. That's not fun. This is way more fun.
No, go look at some of the final scores of the Rockets-Knicks finals.
John Stockton 2 for 7.
When Jordan was out,
James Starks 2 for 17, and was that the clinching game 7?
Game 7, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, those were
dreadful
series. Dreadful. Like 76-81.
Hard on the eyes.
It was not. No, it was not good. And I do think part of that era that rarely gets talked about is it's for the first time the NBA in that era allowed. So there was expansion by 4 teams during that time. So now all of a sudden you had to fill 4 more teams, so the roster was spread out. And there wasn't the talent level to fill it. And for the first time you had high school kids entering the league at that time. KG in 95. I know Moses Malone, Darryl Dawkins years past, but then it became a regular thing. First time, and for some of that, there were very few European players who were in. Like, they didn't come, not all of them. Like, Divac was in early, but Sabonis came in later. Kukoc didn't come in until after the Olympics in 92, 90, whenever that was, like 94, he came over.
Boy, were they
Tino
mean
Raja,
to him.
Petrovic. They were terrible to those guys.
Terrible to Kukoc.
But they, and I took that personally. Because Crouch was trying to make your team better? You took that personally? Like, you actually could have played off Kukoc and it would have thrived.
Yes.
He would have thrived. He was great. He wasn't good. He was great. But that wasn't all in yet. And I just don't think – I think when you look back at that era, there just wasn't that much skill. There wasn't enough talent to go around with expansion and those type of things. Look at some of those starting lineups even with Derek Harper and John Starks and Charles Oakley and Patrick Ewing and Anthony Mason. That's their starting 5. I'm pretty sure I just did that off memory, but I'm pretty sure that's it in one of the finals against the Rockets. Like, it's dreadful. And the Rockets, it was Kenny Smith and Robert Horry and
Vernon
Hakeem
Maxwell?
Olajuwon.
Mario Ellie.
Vernon Maxwell would have been playing. Right. I mean, just, this was – I think that's probably the weakest the league ever was.
All right,
was that mid-'90s run.
Here you go. Here are the games. Here are the scores in these games.
Give me the scores of that series.
Let's see. Game 1, 85-78 Rockets. Game 2, 91-83 Knicks. Game 3, 93-89 Rockets. Game 4, 91-82 Knicks. Game 5, 91-84 Knicks. So I don't even see a single 100-point play. I don't know why they're failing to give me the rest of the scores, but that's incredible to me. I mean, you're not even a single 100-point game there in those finals. So here's the rosters. The Rockets players of consequence is what I'm trying. So game 6 was 86-84. Game 7 was 90-84, and that's a game that Starks went 2 for 17 or whatever it was. So
did I have that next starting lineup?
I'm
Harper,
looking.
Starks, Mason, Oakley, Ewing.
Minutes per game, yes. Harper, Ewing, Mason, Oakley, Starks, and then their sixth man was Charles Smith.
Charles Smith.
Yep.
Nailed it. Gosh, that's dreadful.
Rockets.
That's dreadful.
Rockets had, in terms of minutes per game, oh boy, Elijah, Otis Thorpe, Big Shot Bob, Robert Ory, Kenny Smith, Sam Cassell, Mario Ellie, and then listen to this, at 17 minutes, Carl Herrera. And Vernon Maxwell played 37 minutes a game. So the guys, their starters were Kenny Smith, Maxwell. It would appear Big Shot Bob at the 3, Otis Thorpe at the 4, and Elijah at the 5.
Otis Thorpe and Elijah.
With Sam Cassell and Ellie coming off the bench, and Carl Herrera.
Oof.
Jesus, that bad.
See? What would you think is in our lifetime, what do you think is the NBA equivalent, or the NFL rather, equivalent of that? Because there's an era that comes to my mind immediately.
The early Patriots.
Like 84?
No, I mean,
like
in terms of not necessarily
ugly.
You talk about
early
a lack of
2000s.
Talent. Yes, early 2000s.
I'm talking about Ravens over Giants in the Super Bowl. I'm talking about those Patriots. I'm talking about those Bucks that had Brad Johnson at quarterback against Rich Gannon and the Raiders. There wasn't enough talent. That's right. Wasn't enough talent. It was like the NFL had that, and I wonder what caused that. Was the expansion of us and the Texans? What caused it? Because there was an incredible there wasn't an incredible amount of quarterback play. Look at the guys who won Super Bowls: Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, Gannon won an MVP for crying out loud. I mean, it was Brady was not Brady then.
No, they were winning because of that defense. Ty Law and Teddy Bruschi and Willie McGinnis and all those guys. Richard Seymour. Yeah, they weren't winning because of Brady at all. You had, what was it, Troy Brown playing both ways?
Yeah.
He had to play some DB for them. I think it was an era, too, where, and I think you said something that I found very interesting. You started talking about use the word skill. It was an era where grit and toughness were more valued than skill. In fact, guys who were skilled, especially in basketball, were called Euro or soft.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't about being skilled and having the fancy dribbles. It was about getting your hands on somebody, being violent, and being physical and aggressive. And that's kind of how the NFL was at that time, too. That's why the Niners were, prior to that, they played a pretty style of football, but they were always considered, they're a soft team, though, even though they were anything but soft. But that was kind of the notion, even in the 80s. I think you have kids. Think about when we were kids. In the NBA, you were a Jordan guy, or you liked Magic. And Magic and the Lakers, they were Showtime. But then it was like, can they play tough when, you're getting beat up? And of course the answer was yes, they could. They were just as tough as anybody. But they were more of a Showtime type of a team. You had Larry Bird.
Versus the Celtics and Pistons who were,
You didn't have – Magic was incredibly skilled, but he wasn't skilled in the sense of like a Steph Curry or even a Trae Young in terms of – Magic was just, for being so big, so strong. They're shooters, but and Magic was an unbelievable best passer. But his size made him different. I mean, if you just think about his gait – nothing about that screams, I'm going to be an NBA superstar, the way that he would run. But he was transcendent with his skill, but his size. But those guys would have not made it. Steph Curry still would have been a good shooter, but he would have ended up being like a Craig Hodges. I mean, he's probably
like his dad.
Like Craig Hodges or his dad, like Del Curry, who could stroke it, for sure. But they're role players.
Right.
They're not superstars because you couldn't be ball dominant because they would just beat you up. They wouldn't survive.
Yeah.
He wouldn't survive a season. Trae Young wouldn't survive a season. Devin Booker wouldn't survive a season, although he's a little bit bigger. They just wouldn't.
No, and I think the same is true of that early 2000s NFL. There were at that time. I mean, you're running towards the end of Favre in Green Bay. Look at the quarterbacks as before Manning is fully formed in the Colts. It's kind of before these great quarterback drafts. You think about the Manning's drafted in '98. Then Brady comes in, then 2003, you have the great draft with Manning and Rivers. Then all of a sudden there becomes a focus on quarterback play. and really the first time an open mind, and it was probably the Greatest Show on Turf. When the Greatest Show on Turf won the Super Bowl,
Yep.
it was kind of like an eye-opener. Now, it took a while for everybody to get there from a skill standpoint, but like, oh, we can win this way. I'll be damned, we can win this way, because the Oilers tried it. They couldn't win that way. They didn't have the team to win that way. The Rams won that way. And then everybody said, oh, maybe we can win this way. And then all of a sudden, you started to see this wide open and a real an openness to taking on, frankly, college principles.
Yep.
And applying them to the
Space.
league. The RPO, the spread, the space, athletes in space. Hey,
That's
guess
NBA.
what? We can do this in the NFL too. This isn't a college thing. We can do this anywhere. And I do think that Greatest Show on Turf was a big influential team in that of putting guys in space. And then Manning took that to a new level with Indy, and away you go, and now you are where you are. But I think you're right. I think that is that window in the mid-'90s and that window in the early 2000s for the NFL, mid-'90s NBA, early 2000s NFL, they match up pretty well in terms of just kind of an ugly, slug-it-out style.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fascinating stuff. Going to be fun. That was fun last night watching him play, though. He's pure joy. You can understand why the kids love him. My kids absolutely love him.
And he's a kind of an assassin. I mean, he feels to me in the limited highlights I've watched and his mannerisms and all that, and I know the people, Dame Dollars and all of those people, he takes it, he makes you feel like in every arena he's in that it's personal, which I like. He reminds me of Reggie Miller in that sense. Reggie Miller at the Garden.
I think he's coming off of Knicks and Sixers, though. So two crowds who were, like, he's young, he's a kid,
Yep.
but two crowds who are in your jock, that's who he dealt with the last two series. So it was almost like last night he was looking for somebody to yell at with the Bucks, and the only people there were like Packers offensive linemen. Like there was no Spike Lee to yell at, for him to yell at. So it was kind of but no, he is. And I'll tell you this, last point on this for me. He's not possible without Steph. So when you and I were having that conversation about Curry's influence on the league, you're seeing it play out with this kid.
Yep.
Because do you understand, folks? Just go outside and shoot a jump shot from 30 feet. Just shoot a jump. Go on a 10-foot rim, shoot a jump shot from 30 feet. Try to do it in a normal jump shot approach, as opposed to taking a step or go, boy, I got to really gear up for this. So understand that he's been doing that since he was little, and he uses the exact same form and the same effort to shoot from 30 as he shoots from 20. That's training. And that you don't even think that way unless you saw Steph do it.
Right. And that's what I mean. It's just a whole – and, for example, the skill sets – it's a revolution. Some of the skill sets that are brought in now to the National Football League in terms of, slot receivers, receiving running backs, all of that. Totally.
Yeah. You think about when we played basketball, all you tried to do is get as close to the arc as you could because it was an easier shot. That's all you did. You put your toes on the stripe.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
If you're shooting
That's
three,
what you did.
I'd
if
be
you
shooting
spotted
from
up in the corner.
17 feet on the baseline. That shot doesn't exist anymore.
Right. You race to the corner. You got your feet behind the line. I was a point guard, and I would try to shoot at the top of the key. Most of my threes came from the top of the key within 6 inches of the line. Why? Because it was easier. I never ever thought – if I would have shot from 24 feet, I would have been benched.
Oh,
what are you doing, you idiot?
Are you nuts?
There was no thought to that.
I had one of my games where our coach banned any shots outside of the key.
In a game?
Yeah. Banned. And he banned my jump hook. My jump hook was devastating. It was like Kevin Willis.
Always trying to keep you down. People have you all wrong.
Sad.
They should. You need to be nurtured and allowed to flourish and blossom. Don't try to stifle you. Let you live. Let you live, man. That's when you get the best of the Z. Come on.
Yes.
Let the kid live a little bit.
Please.
Those are your OBM hot topics. Ohio Business Machine preferred copier provider, your Cleveland Browns. Follow the X's and notes for your office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. And if your game plan for the season includes buying or selling a home, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services has you covered. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. Play a little better or worse a little bit later in the program. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
We're going to do our top three, coach, quarterback in a brawl to the death setup
of all
That's
time.
That's going to be fantastic.
I know
of
my
all
number
time.
one.
We'll do ours.
I feel like my number one is locked in.
Okay, I got two off the top of my head that I think, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. I'll have to think about the other one. So we'll have a little fun on the program today. Do the Bengals as well as we will go behind enemy lines at OTAs in Cincinnati and see how that all went for Joe Burrow down there. Off and running here on a Thursday. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Tune in to News 5 next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Browns Countdown, Top 10 Moments presented by Bridgestone. Join Dr. Z and Johnny Doss. Appearances by Tim Couch, Jarvis Landry as they count down the top 10 moments in Cleveland Browns history is voted on by you, the fans, the best fans in the NFL. All right, at 2 o'clock today, we'll do better or worse with the top 12 of Chris Sims' quarterback rankings. But his partner on the podcast, Ahmed Fareed, came up with his own rankings, quarterback coach battle royal rankings.
That's right.
He has that. Now Gibbe, you set this out. So Miz was involved with this as well? Do we have audio of Miz having this conversation?
Yes, so Miz joined the debate. They brought in, Sims and his partner brought in the Miz to grade these. By the way, Miz called this, and this is not part of the clip, but they were like, what do you think? He goes, this is arguably one of the worst things you people have ever done.
He did not agree with it.
No.
Look, the guy is a WWE superstar. He is a reality TV superstar. He is the Prince of Parma.
That's right.
I don't know what else you want out of the guy. I mean, you want him on anything you can get him on. So here he is with the guys talking about their coach quarterback rankings.
where would Baker and
You're done.
be in the Super Brawl? I've got him 11. I've got him 11.
I understand. Like, I am a little. I look at Big Ben and Tomlin, and I get it. I get the number one.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that they're number one seed, but I feel like they could be taken out. The reason I think they could be taken out is because Ben is getting older. He's getting up there. He's taking a lot of hits. And, I mean, I thought he was going to retire this year, to be completely honest with you. So another thing is, like, whenever a person is kind of like older, they've been through the ring, they've been through everything, they become smarter and they do certain things. I just don't think Big Ben and Tomlin should be number one. Here's the thing. I want to say Baker Stefanski, but it's just not. No, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look at more of a new caliber tag team, something that's fresh right off the bat. And the reason I'm going to say this team is because I've worked out with the coach. I went to a place that Jake Glazier owns, and he just happened to be there, and we ended up working out. And I found myself being motivated and literally working harder around him with the workout that he was doing. Like, it was almost like a challenge. And I was like, God, this guy is like, he's a motivator without even motivating. Like, he wasn't even trying. So I can just only imagine if he tried. And then that year, I believe they went to the Super Bowl and lost.
Right.
So I'm going to say the new tag team of Stafford and McVay.
Yeah.
I'd say McVay's a small guy, but he's scrappy.
Stand by.
And this dude is a leader. And I honestly look at that as the missing link that the Los Angeles Rams has had this entire time. And so I'm looking at them as my number one seed.
You're up.
That's fine. He would know. He worked out with McVay. That's fine. I'll
saw
tell you,
him
when I look at this list,
Yeah.
criminally, this list is absurd based on who's 32. Okay? So Joe Burrow, they have the Bengals 32. First of all, Joe Burrow is an athlete. That dude is an athlete. I guarantee you he can throw hands. I promise you he can throw hands. Zach Taylor was a quarterback in college. He's a bigger he's an athlete, man.
Two athletes.
Like, the idea that those two would be worst, like, I promise you they could take out Mahomes and Reed,
Yes!
Dalton and Nagy, Carr and Gruden,
Yes!
Brady and Arians. There's a laundry list of these. They're 32? That's laughable, man. Laughable. Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer? Better than Burrow and Zach Taylor? Come on, man.
They're 10th.
Sean Payton?
and
What are we
Taysom
doing?
Hill?
Come on.
Wow.
Come on.
I feel like
Who would be your number one seed of current guys?
Vrabel and Tannehill.
That's right. It's not close.
I don't know that there's another question about it. I'm interested.
Second eighth.
I don't know much about Zach Wilson, but I feel like Saleh is not to be trifled with. I also think that
I don't think
Dan
old
Campbell,
boy in Detroit.
Yeah, Dan Campbell.
Campbell's
and
not gonna be
Goff though,
messed
I don't
with.
know that Goff's a fighter.
No, probably not. I'm guessing he probably hasn't thrown hands much.
No.
Yeah, I would think Campbell would be, but Campbell could carry him. I mean, I think the three toughest people on this list are probably Vrabel, Campbell, Flores.
I would think so. I mean, Vrabel.
I wouldn't sleep on Ron Rivera either.
No, but he's a little older, coming off of cancer.
True.
That's got to be a
I still bet
factor
he
in
can
there.
scrap.
The Rodgers-LaFleur one, they should be 32nd.
They
Rodgers
wouldn't even get along.
He'll end up beating up Peter LaFleur. That's a 3-on-1 handicap
Yeah,
match.
Matt.
That's 32nd. They should be 32nd immediately. By the way, I don't see Cliff Kingsbury fighting anybody either. Mike McCarthy?
No,
You got Mike McCarthy?
He was an athlete, though.
Mike McCarthy?
I'll
McCarthy,
tell you, Kingsbury
18th?
could box Mike McCarthy. Kingsbury could box Mike McCarthy.
That's fine. I mean, that's one of those where it looks like you hit it a little hard and and the sausage bursts out of the casing.
I mean, yeah.
I
There's a
also
lot
want
in this-
Mike Zimmer's getting a little disrespected. He seems like he strikes me as the kind of
I
person
feel
you
like
have to
he
kill
would-
to win a fight against.
I agree with you. I think if you got in a fight with Mike Zimmer, like, you could lose an ear. Like, I think that would be in play. Like, he would bite your
bite
ear
your
off.
finger
I think
off?
that's.
Everything's in play.
Yep. Yeah. I think he's open to that. I agree with you on that. Yeah.
What jumped out to me about this list was the respect they have for Cam Newton, because Bill Belichick, mastermind, tough guy, sure, but he's like, what, 70-something now? He's not fighting anybody.
Right. No.
So they have the fact that Cam is 8th, that's a lot of respect for him because he's fully carrying Belichick. I also think Baker and Stefanski are underrated. Not the biggest, but they will be crafty. They will be conniving. And Stefanski's from Philly.
We're 11. I mean,
tough.
honestly, it feels properly rated.
You like
to me.
that?
I feel like that's proper.
You don't think we're taking Cam and Belichick?
I think Cam is a big dude, man. Like, if he just starts throwing hands.
I feel like you could – we'll have a report, though, on him. Think about you're coming with the Browns organization backing you up. We will have a full – foot surgery, shoulder. We're going to get him in an ankle lock. We'll train with Kurt Angle beforehand. Yeah. He's out.
He's done.
He's tapping out. 1, 2, 3. No problem.
Let's do our top 3. Historically, top 3 quarterback coach tag team.
I got into this. I actually did a little bit of research on this. I did a little.
Yeah. Well, you have a little more time in your mornings than I do. So let's go ahead and start. Number 3 for you. Who's your number 3?
Well, see, the funny thing is I have 6.
Give me your 3. Let's do 3, and then afterwards you can do your honorable mentions.
I'm having a hard time.
Who you got at number 3?
All right, this is I have at number 3. Now, this might feel like a stretch, but I don't feel like it is, and I'm willing to make the case for it. Art Shell and Todd Marinovich.
So, my number 3 is Art Shell and anyone that he coached in the early 90s. So I swear to God, I could go Marinovich, I can go Berline, I could go Mark Wilson, I could go Jay Schrader.
But
Marinovich, I think a formidable. I have to think, like, did Pops teach him how to fight while he's drinking all those spinach smoothies? Like, was he taught how to fight too? Probably. I mean, Marv was a lunatic. He probably did. I would think he would have. I mean, but it was such a coddled life. I don't know if he maybe kept him away from all of that, you know?
I feel like that kid got himself into some dark stuff, and he's like.
But later, it did. Did it happen at this by now? I don't know if it happened by now.
Don't you think you would have to be if you were that? You know, you have your dad out there talking about how he selected his wife to produce the genetically. Like, you're going to get picked. There's going to be fights.
Yeah, crazy.
You're going to be tested.
Yeah, probably. I put Art Shell and any Raider quarterback from the 90s. I'm fine with it being Marinovich, but he was my number 3 as well. Was Shell Marinovich? That was number 3.
Okay,
that's crazy.
That is unbelievable.
It's crazy. Number 2.
Number 2. This is somewhat based on lore growing up, so I'm not sure about this. But another Raider tandem, Madden and Stabler, the Snake. I heard the Snake was was a tough hombre. Let's just put it that way.
I was on a plane sitting next to the Snake on the way from Atlanta, connecting flight from Atlanta to New Orleans. And he was dressed in a baby blue suit with one of those like Bob Kraft Hefner shirts, like the blue shirts with the white collar, right? A gold tie, alligator shoes, the smoothest dude ever. The hair was perfect. The beard was just flawless, and you just knew. I just think, your nickname's the Snake. He played on those Raiders teams. I don't know. Could Madden throw hands? Like, is he the best?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. He played, though, right? So
when I was growing up, he had a radio show in the Bay Area still. So you would listen to him, and he would talk about how he would go out there and they would play the licks, which is where you had to go, and if somebody got an ice cream, if you licked it, it was your ice cream. And he was like a notorious just bull in a china shop in these licks games that was dominant, but that would lead to hands being thrown. And Madden sounded like, as a young guy, he was in still good shape back then. Like, when he was the coach, he looked fairly formidable. And, he grew up scrapping. There's no doubt in my mind John Madden grew up scrapping. So I like that combination of the Snake and Madden. Now, we could be totally wrong about this.
I don't have a problem with that.
But I don't think so.
I don't have a problem with that.
Who was your number 2?
My number two, Ditka and McMahon.
Okay, so that's my number 1. So
Mike
I am
Ditka. and Jim McMahon is my number 2. McMahon, can throw hands.
Oh, yeah.
He's crazy. You want to talk about bite your fingers off. There's no question he'd bite your fingers off. And then Ditka, come on, man. Like, Ditka's going to be so formidable. He's going to be so formidable. So formidable.
I can't wait to hear that's my number 1. That was when I texted you that. I said, let's come with our top. That was immediate number 1, and then I'm thinking, who's 2 and 3? Ditka and McMahon. I'm excited to hear.
It's just about – so my number 1, it's just about the sheer physicality. And so it's Cam and Rivera.
Okay,
they're going to have
honorable mention.
Weight, strength, reach. They're going to have that over Ditka and McMahon. I mean, the size of a 2015 Cam Newton versus McMahon.
Okay.
I think he could tie him into a pretzel. And my hunch is that Rivera is a lot bigger than Ditka.
Ditka's crazy.
Riverboat Ron Rivera.
And you can't – I feel like –
yeah, but I think he's probably crazy too. And it was – this is pre-cancer.
You can't put
like
past this is the only thing I would say. This is why I stuck with 2 Raiders and then Ditka, was you cannot put past a run-in. There would be, I feel like a Raider fan is going to get involved, and I think clearly
Ditka would have he'd have Mongo McMichael running in.
We talked about
Dan
they love
Hampton
the Panthers in Carolina, but I don't see anybody from Charlotte deciding they need to insert themselves in this brawl.
If you want to bring in the run-in factor, I think you're onto it. You know what we could be sleeping on here is Singletary and Troy Smith.
I have Singletary, Alex Smith, or Singletary, Troy. Alex Smith's a big guy.
Troy Smith. Yeah, but Troy Smith would be
scrappy.
Troy Smith and Singletary would be a full day.
All right.
That'd be a full day.
So my honorable mentions were Rivera, Cam, because I told you I had 3 of them, which is your 1. Singletary, Smith, which you brought up unannounced. And then here's my last one. And I'm not sure if this actually makes sense, but to me it does. Because we've seen this guy fight before. Now, not say that it was pretty, but I feel like he's another one you're going to have to kill to beat in a fight. And then, so Buddy Ryan and Randall Cunningham. Randall's got some reach, smooth guy. I don't know if he's much of a fighter, but Buddy Ryan will bite your ankles.
It's ready. Yeah, he's ready to go. Buddy Ryan would be ready to go. I think he'd be ready to go.
And I really think we're probably disrespecting Vrabel, and Tannehill probably should be on the list because Vrabel can go, and Tannehill's a big, good athlete. I have no idea if he can go or not, but as long as he's neutral,
probably.
Like, can he handle Troy Smith?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a wash.
Right.
Yeah, I would think that's probably a wash. And Vrabel, Vrabel was my 4th. They were my honorable mention. Was Vrabel and Tannehill, and then I had Ditka, McMahon, Art Shell, and anybody, but I'm fine with Marinovich, and then Cam and Rivera were mine. So yeah,
this is great.
A lot of similar.
That's pretty crazy. You're talking about every possible coach in the history of the NFL, and we did not discuss that at all.
No, none at all. Fascinating. Yeah, Vrabel's. Oof. You don't want that. Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that smoke.
Nobody does. We will go around the league. Coming up next, you'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau Bishop here for my friends at Weather Seal Home Services. Need a roof replacement? Would you like to replace your roof for the final time? Well, that's the benefit of choosing a metal roof from Weather Seal. Metal roof technology, materials, styles, and colors have improved significantly. They are absolutely beautiful, nearly indestructible, and affordable, especially at Weather Seal. Plus, with a new metal roof, Weather Seal includes 100 feet of free extra-large gutters, up to 7 years zero-interest financing. Give my guys a call, 877-351-SEAL, or visit weathersealhomeservices.com as we go around the league. How about this? The league? Look, we're not going to have the Combine in Indy anymore. It's going to be 2022. That's it. The league is opening up for bids. Yeah, it's been the home since 1987. It now opens it up. And, look, this is something that you knew was going to happen. You felt like it was going to happen. There's going to be money in it for the league, and so the league's going to benefit. This is my biggest takeaway from this is if you want to be a player in the NFL more than just 8 or 9 times a year, you need a dome. It's that simple.
Yep.
Because then you can have all this stuff. You can have the Combine. You can have the Super Bowl. You can do anything you want, but you have to have a dome to be able to do it.
You're 100% right. Those are the facts of the matter, and I'm really stunned, to be perfectly honest with you, that this is where they're going. I get it. Indy's just so good for it. Indy is a great city for this. Everything's easy. It's accessible.
Buddy, can you imagine the economic hit that city will take? They have banked on, since 1987, all of those restaurants they have banked on in downtown. They have banked on this 6-day stretch. I would put it to you that it's the most profitable 6 days or 5 days or whatever it is on their calendar by far. It's not just steak. It's magnums of Silver Oak and Opus One.
All night long.
All night long. Like this is something that I don't know if those places can recover from it. Honestly, I don't. That's not hyperbole.
No.
Like, from what I understand, and I've never been to Indy for anything other than the Big Ten Championship, a Super Bowl, the Combine. It's always an event, and it's always going crazy. But from what I understand from people that live over there, if those things aren't going on, downtown's a ghost town.
Ghost town. Yeah.
So part of the infrastructure of and I'm not – look, I don't really care about Indiana. That doesn't mean anything. I'm like Johnny Depp when he played John Dillinger. There's absolutely nothing I want to do in Indiana except go to the Combine. So I'm not feeling sorry for them. I'm just saying they've had it since '87, and now they don't. And now they open it up to everybody. You're talking about L.A., Vegas, Minneapolis, Atlanta, any place that's got direct flights and domes. And I would say a close proximity is important from dome to hotels. I think the NFL will want that most, but maybe they won't.
I don't know how that works, though.
That's what I was saying.
Indy, there is no better setup in the National Football League than Indy.
Minneapolis would have that. Because you can walk everywhere downtown without going outside. The stadium isn't connected though. Like the stadium in Indy is connected. It's not connected in Minneapolis. Atlanta wouldn't be far. Like you could stay, all down near the dome. I mean, it's not as good, but you could stay down there. Dallas doesn't have that at all.
No,
it's 40 minutes out there. I'm not as familiar with the Houston situation in terms of that proximity to dome. Not.
No,
I don't know that. L.A. would not have it.
No.
Vegas would have it, but does Vegas need it?
I can't even imagine the NFL Combine in Las Vegas. There are times I think that we're going to die when we're in Indy.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't think of any place that is as well set up for what it is and what it needs to be as Indy. I really can't.
I can't either.
We've all been to events at a lot of places.
Phoenix doesn't have that.
No, it's so
You're going to
spread.
stay in Scottsdale? It's an hour over there.
Hour? We're talking about walking or getting on a bird. And, in fact, we can go from our hotel to the Combine without ever walking outside.
Right. Minneapolis is close, but, again, it's not connected to the hotel. But you can navigate downtown without ever going outside.
Sure.
But you can't get to the stadium that way.
No.
I don't know anything about Detroit. If Detroit would have that ability, they have a dome.
It's not good.
No.
No.
That doesn't work either.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a shame, and it's I think it'll change the way some teams do it. Like for us, you're going to take, think about what we do when we go to the combine. And that's a huge week for us, right? I mean, not only is the content great, but in terms of the people we get to talk to, the whole NFL's there. Like, is that doable if you're going to Atlanta or L.A.? You're not putting all those people on planes to fly across the country.
You might. I mean, the NFL's banking on it. The NFL is assuming that it's going to be just as big a business and perhaps bigger elsewhere.
But, you're not going to have that access. Everybody's forced to go to, one of 3 or 4 places in Indy for the nightlife.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
I mean, it's
dude.
3 or 4 hotels, and it's 2 or 3 lobbies, and it's 4 or 5 restaurants.
Yeah. I mean, the main ones. I mean, that you learn a lot. And I think you lose that if you end up moving that to a city that can't accommodate.
If you do LA, people will be
Nightmare.
staying all over the area, hotels all over that area. You're going to have the running and all of that will obviously be at SoFi, but will the interviews be at SoFi or will they be at the LA Convention Center? So you're going to have to bus people from. I mean, the stadium's in Inglewood.
Yeah.
It's not.
Does not make a lot of sense. Indy was
No.
perfect.
We would be perfect.
Yeah. But where are they
We'd be
going to
really
do it?
good.
All in the convention center?
No, if you had a dome. If you had to put a roof on the thing, then you'd be perfect. You'd be very good. You have the proximity downtown, great hotels, convention center right there.
But even here is not like Indy.
It's not like Indy, though. No. And
I-
you have to think. That's why when I first thought of this, I thought about, easy to get to, which immediately I thought of Minneapolis. I thought of Atlanta. Those are huge hubs. They're easy to get to. Hotels are
There's nothing
lots of
by
great
the
hotels.
Georgia Dome or the
stadiums.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Well, no, but you're relatively close. I mean, you can take.
you're not
Where's
walking.
the Atlanta Convention Center?
You're not walking.
Oh God, you know who's going to? New Orleans will get it.
New Orleans would be okay.
Huge convention center, all those hotels down there in the warehouse
But the
district that line it.
The stadium's kind of
Stadium.
off to
Stadium's
the
a-
side.
It is. It's but it's not far. It's
No, you
and
could
the
still-
weather's good. It's 5 blocks. It's not 5-6 blocks.
No, when we
It's
did
not too bad.
WrestleMania, we were at our hotel. We could walk right there, and then you could also walk the other way to Bourbon Street and all of that. New Orleans would work. Better weather. I just think they need to think about this wisely too. So I went to the Super Bowl the year that it was in Dallas as well for some media stuff.
Okay.
It was a debacle. Half of it's in Fort Worth.
It's a disaster.
Half of it's in Dallas, and then the stadium is in whatever city it's in, which is neither of those two.
Frisco, isn't it, or something?
Something like that. It's
Yeah,
got
it's forever. I was
Forever.
at the national championship game in Dallas, and the press and stuff would be you'd have press conferences in downtown Dallas, and then you'd have to go out to the stadium for stuff. You can't have that. You can't have all that mass transit for it.
right.
Yeah. There's no reason to do it. I mean, but they're going to, and that's where you're headed. And my guess is the bid process. I'd be curious how the bid process works. Will cities be involved with this, or will this just be NFL teams pitching? We partnered with City of Cleveland to pitch the draft. I'm guessing how it will happen here.
Well,
with the combine.
I mean, are they gonna be catering to a lot more fans? Is it going to be? Do they want something like how the draft pulls in people? Because that's the other great thing about the NFL Combine. While there are fans, there really aren't a lot, and that allows you to have access and contact with everybody.
Yeah.
You start putting 100,000 people, and you're never going to see anybody.
No. I think it's a case of you have a really well-oiled, nearly perfect machine, and I don't see the upside in altering that.
Right.
Maybe a small financial upside, but is it that big, or do they just want to spread the wealth to other NFL owners? Maybe other NFL owners say, hey, give us a crack at that. Give us in our city a crack at that thing. That's become a big deal. I mean, guys, even when we first started going, this was all done during the day. And then remember the last time 2 years ago, everything's at prime time. We're running at night. Remember that?
Yeah.
We lost out on a lot with that because
Tons.
everybody used to be out.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden everybody's watching stuff at night. So It's all changed. It's all
just-
changed. A pretty great deal.
I think, though, from a standpoint of just think about the league and the player and the coaches and everybody. Part of what's great about Indy is, like I said, you can walk everywhere. If you go to a place like Dallas or LA, you're opening yourself up to situations. Cars are involved. People are driving at night, maybe in rental cars. You try to get Ubers, but you know how difficult it is to get an Uber these days. So I just think that's what's so good about it.
I agree.
It's a very safe environment for everybody to be in. Nobody's going to get themselves, because of the way Indy is as a city, culturally, you're not going to get yourself into, there's not trouble to be had there. It's kind of everybody gets together, everybody has a good time. You can walk everywhere, safe, no bad decisions. It's kind of amazing to me that there aren't other cities in the country that are like that. I find Indy to be unique because I've been Super Bowls in Indy. I've been Super Bowls in Dallas. I've been Super Bowl in New Orleans. Nothing's like Indy. Nothing's as easy as Indy. New Orleans is close, but nothing's as easy as Indy.
Minneapolis is close. Minneapolis is close because it has a lot of the same amenities that Indy does.
Okay.
With the sky bridges and all that.
Yep.
You can walk around downtown all day in Minneapolis, never step foot outside. Minneapolis is very close, and they've got a better airport. But no, it is. And part of that is Indy's a new city. It's a relatively new city. You know, it's not one like ours that's been around for so long that the grid was set up so many years ago.
Right.
Indy is set up on a flat – Indy's a lot like Columbus, except they have an NFL team. Like you can spread – it can grow forever, and they just built everything around downtown so all those outer belts all connect, and it's easy to get to. So, but yeah, Indy is the best for this. And there's a reason that they do a good job. So, you know, it's going to be – I'm fascinated to see where it goes. One other –
beyond what we're talking about, what I always was told was that Indy was so good because of the medical facility that's there that makes it so easy for them to do all the medical testing, which is, if you ask the teams, the most important part of the combine anyway.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the medical situation, you know, obviously Minneapolis would have tremendous medical.
It was just the proximity of it, how easy it was. I
Right.
don't know. I think I'll be sad. We'll have next year will be glorious. It'll be the swan song,
Blowout.
but it's kind of sad. Now I
agree.
It'll be nice to go to some of these other places, especially if they decide to put it in somewhere with good weather. That'll be a nice, February trip on the calendar every year, but it was just so easy.
Yes.
We drove there. Once we checked into our hotels, we were good.
Park the car and you'll pick it up when you leave.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. No, it was. Really was. Obsessing over something like football can be a problem. If you're obsessing over gambling, it can be downright dangerous. Do something to take your mind off it, like finding a hobby perhaps. If you want more tips, go to keepitfunohio.com for great ways to keep gambling fun. We'll play a little better or worse coming up next on Chris Sims' quarterback breakdown. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And when you're dedicated to bringing the best value to your customers, you got to do a little work. And at Northeast Factory Direct, founded on the principle that quality shouldn't have to cost you a ton. They prove it every day. They keep that overhead low. They buy by the truckload. They pass the savings on to you, the customer. When it comes to mattresses, they outdid themselves. They searched the entire country to find the best factory, the best warranties. Now they have the latest technology in mattresses for a fraction of the cost. Northeast Factory Direct has you covered: king, queen, full, twin, bunk bed, mattress, box springs, and more. But unlike ordering online, you actually get to try it out before you buy it. Check them out, guys. West 140th Street in Cleveland, Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, or Freeway Drive in Macedonia, or shop them online anytime at northeastfactorydirect.com. Time for a little better or worse or sweet spot.
Sweet spot.
And give it.
What up, boys? Thursday.
Thursday.
Hey, buddy.
By the way, let me just say, I like that instead of saying you're up, I like you're hot. That was a nice way to bring us
Danny
out.
Cunningham on the board.
Danny,
You're welcome, guys.
A great way to bring
You're
us
hot?
back. Yeah, you're hot.
You want a
Thanks.
fresca,
Yeah,
Danny?
you, Danny. I do like that.
A little
You're hot.
fresca?
Do like that.
I do.
There might be something to that.
It's like in Top Gun when
Good job out
when
of
you're
him.
ready to fire them, your missiles are hot.
Missiles are hot.
Missiles are hot. You're ready to go.
Yeah. When does that come out? The new Top Gun Maverick.
I don't know. It's been
Thought it was supposed to be
like
July.
3
but-
years ago, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, it was supposed to be last summer, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think it's eventually. I'm sure they want the box office, but I don't even know if
Modes
box
was-
office exists anymore.
Modes was with them during some of the shooting.
I believe you checked in.
What am I
with you.
hard at knowing stories and modes told? Of course I know
Of course
this.
you know that. Dinner. What a time.
Don't need to
You know the
follow
coolest-
anybody on social media for that.
No.
No. You know the coolest thing among them. I mean, look, there's so many cool things with modes, but one of the coolest was the jacket. How he could
Patch on, patch off.
that bomber patch on, patch
Yeah.
off.
Whatever you need.
Jeez.
Whatever you need.
Now he looked so cool. Did anybody ever gonna look bad in that jacket?
No. You're going to look like a baller.
It's you're gonna look like a boss, man.
Yes, yes. Quite formidable.
Yes.
Oh,
Such a cool jacket. Love that jacket.
tremendous Velcro.
Yeah.
Tremendous Velcro.
Yeah, really
No-
good Velcro.
Nothing moves.
Military grade Velcro there, folks.
No, it was going nowhere.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's right.
Beautiful. All right, let's play a little higher, lower, or just right. Chris Sims' top 12 QBs in his QB countdown that are out this week. He finally finished his final four.
He's got our guy where?
13.
Number 13 was our guy.
Higher or lower?
What'd you say, Bo?
Remember we played it?
Yeah,
And it seemed like he had him more like 6.
yeah. And
Yes.
then Phil and his pops was loving Baker. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could have convinced me to go as high as 8 or 9, I think he said. I would be fine with that, too. I'm like, well,
Right.
just put him up there.
This list is, again, stunning.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Sims,
It really
he
is.
loves to
All right.
dabble in the stunning.
So first and foremost, do we all agree Patrick Mahomes is right where he needs to be? Just
Sweet spot.
right
Sure.
at number 1.
Sweet spot.
Sweet spot.
Sweet spot.
I'm not familiar with that terminology, so I'll assume that means
Can
just
you
right.
imagine? Let's real quick on Mahomes. What, barring injury, can you imagine him not being number 1 for the foreseeable? Like is Lawrence, like you see Lawrence and maybe he, because you just think of the skill set required that he possesses, and Lawrence does not have that skill set. It's hard to imagine Mahomes not being number 1 for a while.
I mean, if Allen continues to ascend, I mean, he's got him 2 now,
Has to
but
hit a
no,
ceiling
I mean,
at some point, doesn't it?
I think it'll be Mahomes.
All right.
Yeah.
Danny Cunningham, fire off the sounder.
Higher or lower?
There we go. Tom Brady's number 10. Higher, lower, or just right?
What are we doing here?
Tom
Segura-
Brady behind Dak Prescott.
What are we doing here? Dak
Segura's gonna
Prescott
totally step
behind
all over
Lamar
you, bud.
Jackson as a quarterback?
Behind Prescott?
Behind Kyler
Kyler?
Murray? Behind Matt Stafford? No offense. I know that.
Behind Matt
He's in your
Stafford
family.
and Josh Allen? I mean, he's like a nephew, but come on, man.
I mean, it's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Yeah.
Tom Brady still has it.
Clearly, if you
Yeah.
watched the game in February.
Right.
Yeah. I
Tom
mean, if
Brady-
you want to go Mahomes, Rodgers,
Brady.
and then I think Brady 3.
3. Yeah. You can't be outside of the top 3. We're talking about a guy who completed 66% of his passes last year for 4,633 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. He averaged 290 yards a game, quarterback rating of 102. And was he good in the playoffs? Yeah, as a matter of fact, he was good in the playoffs, which for Tom Brady, I think is somewhat important, is it not? That's where that's why we say he's the GOAT. Playoffs last year.
Tends to matter.
Playoffs last year. Brady, 2, 4, 10 touchdowns, 3 picks. And all 3 came in the game against Green Bay, which he made some huge throws to win. Outside of those 3 games, 7 touchdowns, no picks. Super Bowl, 201 yards, didn't throw a lot, 21-29, 72% completion, 3 touchdowns, no picks, quarterback rating 126.
He lost it. Yeah,
he should be
missing the fastball. That's why he's number 10.
How about this? The last time that Tom Brady had multiple passing touchdowns in a playoff game prior to this season, which he did it 4 straight, was 2017. He had no multiple passing touchdown games in 2018, and they won the Super Bowl that year. He was 209, no touchdowns, 1 pick. In fact, in 18 and 19 in the playoffs, 2 touchdowns, 4 picks in those 4 playoff games. This year, 10 and 3. He still got it.
Next.
He's still got it.
Higher or lower?
Josh Allen is number 2. Clearly, you should be lower. How much lower would you go, Beau Bishop?
I'd have him 6. I'd have him 6. There's no way he's ahead of. Obviously, he's not ahead of Mahomes. He's not ahead of Rodgers. He's not ahead of Brady. He's not ahead of Wilson. And him and Deshaun, I would probably still prefer Watson to him. But you could make an argument. But he can't be ahead of the other guys I mentioned.
I don't think he can be in the top 3, but he's definitely in the conversation starting at 4. This is what he did last year. In addition to
that was incredible.
Going 13 and 3, he completed 70% of his passes. This is a guy who never completed more than 58% before. 4,544 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 picks, quarterback rating of 107. And then remember that he also does this. He's got at least 8 rushing touchdowns every year in the league. Last year, 421 and 8.
It's a bad division. He's really good, and I was wrong on him, but it is a bad division he's playing in. I mean, it's historically bad a year ago with how bad the Bills were, or how bad the Jets were, how bad the Dolphins were, and the
the Dolphins' D was elite.
Yeah, no, he was great. He was great.
Next.
Higher or lower?
All right, we talked about Deshaun Watson, but can we talk?
I'll just say this.
Yes.
I believe in my mind right now, the top 3 are Mahomes, Rodgers, and Brady.
Yes, you said that.
The next 3, and I feel like this is a very good tier together, and we could debate where we want to rank them, but it's Russ, Watson, and Allen. And he's played himself into that conversation to me.
Yes. Yep. I agree.
Where the hell? Lamar Jackson 6th and Kyler Murray 7th. I'm combining these two. I don't know. I don't get it. I think the clock is ticking on running quarterbacks and that system from the moment they start playing. All of a sudden, then when there's tape,
I would be very fearful. I mean, I'm not because it's not my problem. But if I were someone, and my guess is many of you don't care about the Baltimore Ravens, when I heard Greg Roman talk about putting him under center, I thought, okay, I've read this book, and he did this with Cap.
Yep.
Like, if you're going to draft a Ferrari, let it get on the open road and run, man. Let it run. Shift it, man. You cannot, there's no reason to keep it restricted and try to make it be something it's not. And that's what Lamar Jackson is. So now you're going to put it, to me, that was terrifying. They drafted him some weapons, but I would be, if I had any vested interest, and I don't, I would be worried about that a great deal. Kyler at 7 is too high, too.
Way
based
too
on
high.
What we've seen at this point. Way too
Are
high.
either one of those guys top 10?
If I'm saying I've got to win a Super Bowl this year, no, not for me.
No, they wouldn't be for me either. Lamar is a problem in the regular season because when you have a week to prepare for what he is, when we saw that. I mean,
there's 31 offenses, and then there's the Ravens offense.
I still like Kyler long-term better
it's
than
just
Lamar.
different. No question. But Lamar's more accomplished now.
Sure.
He's more proven now in the regular season, certainly, obviously. So, no, I wouldn't. I'd have Stafford in there. I'd have our guy in there. Clearly, they have Brady at 10.
Just remember, not a single free agent wide receiver wanted to sign with the Ravens. You got plenty of people who are pumped to be in Arizona. Now, that's a function of system, but that's also a function of quarterback and what their skills are. Now, Kyler ran for 800 yards and 11 touchdowns last year. Kyler, actually, you could make the case, was slightly more effective than Lamar's run. Now, Lamar ran for 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. I'll take 4 extra touchdowns and 200 fewer yards because he also threw the ball, Kyler did, for 1,000 yards more than Lamar Jackson. 1,000 more. 1,200, actually.
Again, that's function of the offense, though, too. Like, I mean, we've played both these guys in recent years.
I was
Lamar's
much more
terrifying
fearful of Kyler.
In a regular season.
Kyler can throw it, though.
Well,
he can still beat you
yeah.
throwing the ball. Lamar's
He can.
awesome. Incredible weapon.
He's awesome.
Incredible
He's
weapon.
been the MVP of the league. I don't want to diss him too much.
I don't think we are dissing him. I think he's an incredible weapon, and he's
I think Kyler, like, too much too soon for Kyler. Little too much too soon. He was trying to make stuff out of nothing sometimes last year.
Yes.
He made a lot of, you know.
I'm not sure how
I
much
don't know.
further
And I
his
don't like
ceiling
King
can
very
go
much.
to with the coaching he's getting.
I agree. I don't disagree with that.
In fact, I like Dak better than both of these guys who's next on your list. And I feel like Dak's kind of doesn't get as much respect as he should get. What do you guys think about that?
I don't give Dak any respect, so I'm right there.
I know you don't.
I do agree with you.
Are there some parallels? Are there some parallels between Prescott and Stafford in that? I mean, the circumstances are totally different. Prescott's been in a lot better circumstance than
He
Stafford's
takes
been.
care of the football.
But it
yeah.
does feel like for both of them, this is a big year.
Yep. I think that's fair.
You know, I would say this is the first time that Stafford has ever been put in a position to succeed since probably Calvin Johnson left.
Yep.
And I think the same is and Prescott is really put in a position to succeed. Second year in the offense, they have a ton of weapons. I mean, just a litany of weapons. So it does feel like big year for both of those guys.
Sometimes
I like Stafford more than Dak, but as you know, he's in my family.
Sometimes you see how good somebody is when they're not there. And for an offense that had Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and on, to really become turds.
Couldn't do anything.
Once he went down,
Yep.
and before he went down,
Yeah.
they were throwing for 400. He was about to set every record in the NFL.
Yeah.
That says a little something to me.
All right, final one here in our last minute.
Higher or lower?
Justin Herbert's number 11 and Ryan Tannehill are number 12.
Give me our guy, but Herbert, I need to see it
Our
for
guy's-
2 years in a row. But Herbert, what an unbelievable rookie season.
Unbelievable.
Guess what? Mobley had that scouted. He said Justin Herbert is the real deal. He
What can he
banged the
do?
table for him. Great question.
Yeah.
I just,
Our guy ahead of both. Herbert really.
He was impressive.
someone put
I
these
didn't have it.
rankings in Six's locker just so he can see all
Yeah,
this.
good. I like it.
Because he's going to play most of them.
Pode's back.
Yeah, we see a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
Pode's back in the building from his honeymoon. Jade Mountain.
Who?
Mark Podolak.
Podolak.
He's back.
Jade Mountain?
Yeah. Baller. I saw it on the gram. I said, dude, you're baller. That's baller. Like Infinity Pool, Jade Mountain.
Whoa.
Baller.
I know. Yeah. What am I, hard of it? Of
No.
course.
Well,
I mean, I know.
Hey, now.
I wasn't
why I
sure.
stopped.
Made famous. Jade Mountain, it would even say made famous on either The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
I don't know anything about that.
That you don't.
Is that the Bachelor episode
right, very good.
that season was filmed here? And then they were there later on?
I don't remember if that was the sequence, but you could be right, Gibby. And if you are, nothing would make me happier than
I
for you to
think
have
I'm
that
right.
kind of
That's
knowledge.
I think my kid made me watch
I think
that
that's
season.
when we knew.
Pilot
I think
Pete.
that's when we knew that 2019 wasn't going the way we were going to think it was going to go. That's when it was set off. That moment, off the rails. All right, good job out of you, Gibby. We're going to do Cincinnati up next. The great Jeff Hobson going to join us at the bottom of the hour. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And tune in to News 5 Tuesday, June 29th, 8 o'clock. Browns Countdown, Top 10 Moments presented by Bridgestone. Join Dr. Z and John Doss. Appearances by Tim Couch, Jarvis Landry. They're going to count down the top 10 moments in Cleveland Browns history, voted on by you, the fans. Check it out. My DVR is set. So the Cincinnati Bengals are our team of record. They did new uniforms this year. This is a road trip that is very doable, and I think you've done it. You loved it. You like nothing more than busting down there.
I did it myself. I drove myself this year down to Cincinnati and then drove myself right back after the epic comeback. Oh boy, I was really excited about that one. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
And the year before, weren't you on some sort of a party bus driving down there?
As a matter of fact, you're right. I was with Miss K on the party bus on the way down. Sure. Real nice.
There you go. I like Cincinnati downtown. The great restaurants down there. There's about 6 Jeff Ruby joints. They're all great.
Yeah, the Precinct.
Yeah, the Precinct. Sure.
Gibbe's got a great Gibbe's got a good bar. Where did we go, Gibbe?
The bar or the restaurant?
Both.
The bar, O'Malley's in the alley.
In the alley. I remember it had a
Change
rhyme.
your world. And by the way, the entire time you're walking down the alley, you're not quite sure that you made the right turn.
That you want to be going.
Did.
But you did. Yeah.
And it's spectacular.
Wow. Okay, very good. Yeah, I recommend going. I think this is a fun trip.
It's a great city. The waterfront has exploded. God, where is that? Last couple times we've been there, we ate in an amazing wing place. My good friend Laura Chadwick, who is NFL Network producer, she lives down there, and she meets up with us and takes us out. There was also another place that we went to, it was like a hot dog. It was like a gourmet, hot dog type place, but they had a poutine.
Yeah, that's where we
really
went. The
good.
poutine. You were all about that poutine. There's no
the
doubt.
I love it. Poutine.
Oh yeah.
So,
that's
but
good.
that whole area was restaurants and bars. It's good stuff. It's quite delightful.
Yeah, no, it is. I think it's great. There's good hotels, great eats. You're close. The stadium is nondescript. They just built a stadium. I mean, it's a lot of cement. No indoor there for them.
It's the worst stadium. It's the worst stadium in the league, in my opinion.
It is not the worst stadium in the league. Stop it. No, not even close.
What's worse?
Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're in the same genre.
No way.
Awful
Not
concrete
even-
everywhere. Just awful.
No character.
No character.
Yeah. No.
None.
The best thing about that stadium is there a sign that says if someone's being obnoxious or anything, report them, text jerk. And I'm like, this is great. I just want to text jerk all night long in this stadium.
I do like the rap they have in the bottom, that the jungle and the welcome to the jungle they play. That part of it's good, but the stadium itself is really awful. And even the what you would call the bowels of the stadium are just awful.
All right.
Every expense spared. Go ahead.
Every
Jeff
amenity
Ruby's
ignored.
Or Montgomery Inn.
Jeff
Ruby's. The Precinct is an unbelievable restaurant. Even the one that's downtown, just a regular. It's a great steak.
His restaurants I'll fight on that. I mean, I think his restaurant chain is the best restaurant chain in the Midwest. I think it's as good as anywhere. There's one of them in Columbus that's stunning. We almost had one here downtown. Something happened at the last minute. Ended up going to Columbus instead. But that guy's joints, man. If you want white tablecloth, all the accoutrements, they do a great job.
You want some interesting people watching. Jeff Ruby's in Cincinnati, too.
Montgomery
Who's with
Inn.
who? I have questions.
Oh, sure. That's kind of how I feel about Skyline. I've only had Skyline once, and I was like, I don't understand this. I don't know what this is.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I've done a lot better things with spaghetti than that.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of the same. And then they had now this is a really fun, exciting team. We'll talk to Jeff Hobson about that. And so I don't want to just, dismiss everything about them, although they're a rival, so maybe what the hell. But they just redid their uniforms, and I feel like they kind of blew that. It's better than what they've been, certainly, but they have Bengals across the chest. It's not needed. We see your hat. We know who you are.
Yes, agreed.
There are luminaries that are texting us.
Yeah, we're making them hungry. They're in Cincinnati right now. The great Bernard.
Oh, they're in Cincinnati?
Yes,
Bernard's in
course.
Cincinnati.
You matter, Bernie. Go Browns.
He's
Oh,
like, you
there
guys
you
have
go.
me
There
hungry.
you go.
Jeff Ruby's. Can't
Well,
go
it's-
wrong. That's what I'd say. Go the precinct.
No, you've never gone wrong.
I love the
That's
precinct.
right. Yeah, and he's got several.
I've had some great meals when we go down there back in the day. We'd go, Corp Partnership would have some of the clients down there, and they'd go, and have a great meal at the precinct. Oh, boy.
We sat ringside for
Oh,
a
boy,
WWE
it's a real
event down
treat.
there a few years
We
ago.
sure
that Zegura
did.
got us VIP tickets for.
Yeah, the Miz came down there. There was a show. It was the game right around Thanksgiving.
They pre-taped it or something. It was
the Great American Bash that aired later on the network. But yeah, we were front row for that with the Miz, and then went out. I got to go out with them after that. It was good times. Who was that? Me, you, Spano, and Clay, or was it just me, you, and Spano?
Was it Clay or Casey? We got the chairs. We got to keep the
This
chairs.
was 2019.
It would be Clay.
Oh yeah, that was a good time.
That was a good
I'm
time.
going to tell you something. If you get to a Ruby joint, and I'm pretty sure the precinct has this too.
Yeah.
The steak Diane.
What's
That's
on
where
that?
you go. Finish it table side. The filet with they've got a sauce that they do with it.
What kind of a sauce is it?
It's a bordelaise, I think.
All right.
Oh my gosh!
What's in Diane? Is that some
Just
crab meat?
decadent.
Gotta look this
It's been a
up.
while since I've had it.
By the way, I don't mind the Skyline, but there's a time and place for the Skyline.
I don't know that there is.
Oh, there is. If there's time at the
I
end of the
think it's a
show, I will
brandy
tell this
cream.
story involving a
Mustard, Worcestershire cream,
got
and
Hobson
cognac.
coming
celebrity eating Skyline like the world was ending.
Wow. Could have been explosive.
Yeah,
a few hours
brandy
later.
cream, mushrooms. So it's mushrooms, brandy cream, and then they finish it table side.
It's
What a
very
time to
rare
be
for me
alive.
to want a sauce on a steak.
Me too, but it's a rare treat there.
Okay.
It's a rare treat.
All right.
I would say.
Okay.
The great Jeff Hobson will join us
Yes.
coming up next. Before we do that, though, if you're in game plan for a new home, buying or selling, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services has you covered. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today for more. Jeff Hobson will join us next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Love your home again this summer. Call my friends, the pros at Perfect Power Wash. Finally, we can get outside and enjoy some family and friends, barbecues and parties and more. Don't let your dirty home be a distraction. Whether it's your siding, your roof, your driveway, your deck, your patio, over 20 years in business, PPW, they are the experts on restoring your home's curb appeal and making your neighbors jealous in the process. Don't spend time in the hot sun lugging around that heavy power washer all weekend just to get a fraction of the results. The process is super easy. Takes 5 minutes on the phone, guys. Now I have the cleanest home on the block, so does Z. Don't pull it off any longer because due to high demand, that schedule is filling up fast. Call the pros today, 888-860-WASH. Show your home some love. Use the promo code BEAU and get 10% off on that purchase. All right, when we want to talk Bengals, we do so with our great friend Jeff Hobson. He's the Bengals senior staff writer. He is a great friend of this fine program. Sir, thank you so much for your time. Let's just start with some of the impressions you had of this group getting together, and it starts with Joe Burrow and just getting to see him throw again. I mean, we saw some video. You got to see him in person. What'd you think?
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me on. Hope everyone's well and safe up there. Burrow, he's throwing the heck out of it. He worked on some mechanics over the off season, and he's zipping the thing. And I think that was about probably the only thing you could tell, because it was basically, it wasn't a big extensive regimen like they're going to have in training camp. But I think they like what they saw from the offense, with Joe looking like he looks like he's ready to go to take that first snap. And, he's really already kind of what he didn't have last year was time with his receivers. And obviously that's what those 10 practices were all about. So they're pretty happy with the way he looked at throwing the ball.
Jeff, I think a lot of people are sleeping on how good this offense can be, and I'm not sure why. You talk about Chase and Boyd and Higgins and Burrow and Mixon. I feel like that's as darn good a quarterback skill group as there is in the league. It's loaded. What do you think this offense is going to be, and how are the guys up front?
I mean, I agree. I think people are they're kind of too wrapped up in the offensive line, and granted it's an important issue, no question about it. It's a big priority to protect Burrow, but I think people are overlooking the fact that just what you talked about, and maybe the most underrated guy in the division that we don't talk about and should is Joe Mixon, and he's a very big part of protecting Burrow. So yeah, they're getting a lot of criticism about not improving up front, but they did spend in free agency on a right tackle, and I think the biggest move they could have made, they got a new offensive line coach in Frank Pollock, and who has been with them before and when Joe Mixon was with Frank Pollock, he averaged 4.9 yards per carry, which is what they hope to get to. And I think the big thing is that Zach Taylor made him the run game coordinator. So, it just isn't spending $80 million on a veteran offensive lineman. It's the coaching aspect of it. It's reshaping your running game. It's drafting a guy. It's drafting one of his weapons from college. All that goes into protecting Joe Burrow too. Not to mention, throwing $100 million for the second straight year into your defense.
Yeah, all of that stuff certainly helps, and a healthy Mixon will be a big part of that. I want to ask you about Jamar Chase, and this is a guy who I don't know if you just follow the NFL, you're probably not aware that on that LSU team where Joe had one of the great seasons in the history of college football, Jamar Chase was the number one, and Justin Jefferson was the number two. That's how good Jamar Chase was. He didn't even play last year, but I think because of that, I think people forgot about what he was capable of. As you've seen him out there, does he live up to what we remember from him 2 years ago at LSU?
Yeah, he has showed up. Obviously, we're not in the games yet, or even vigorous 7-on-7, but he has showed up exactly as advertised. This guy's a pro. He approaches the game like he's 32 years old. He's got a terrific sense for the game. Wide receivers coach Troy Walters has been very impressed with how he's picked up the playbook so quickly. And he's a versatile guy. They can line him up anywhere, some maybe are looking at his height, 6 feet. But here's a guy, he runs, they compare him to Anquan Bolden. Oh, my God. Anquan Bolden ran, 4.6 40 and had a 34 vertical leap, and he's got a near Hall of Fame career. Well, Chase, leaps 41 inches and runs a 4.38, and great hands. And like I said, I think he's been everything as advertised as far as approach to the game is, and he's already got a rapport, obviously, with Burrow. And as you mentioned, maybe any other draft, maybe that is indeed picking a tackle. But when you have when you can pair up one of the great college combos of all time,
yeah,
I don't know how you not do it.
And they felt the same way, and they did do it. Do you feel, looking at Chase, modern history, you have Ocho Cinco, then you go into A.J. Green. Is he the next one to kind of carry that mantle? There's always been a stud, and Boyd has been a very productive player for you guys. Higgins, I thought, flashed over the second half of the year, but there's always been a stud number one. Is he the next guy in kind of that lineage to you?
Well, I'm not going to forget about T. Higgins now. T. Higgins came back monstrous.
He was great in the second half.
220 pounds. So, there may be two guys passing the torch, getting the pass torch from A.J. Green. Chase is a different guy. T is more in the style of A.J. He's an A.J. clone almost with his body type. But Chase is a different, intriguing guy. He's almost like a running back out there. Yak, yards after catch. But he's also got the great hands on the deep ball. So, and he's also can line up anywhere. You can, line him in the backfield. So he's different. But I do agree with you. I think he is next in line. But I think step for step, this may be the best receiver combo. T. Higgins, Jamar, don't sleep on T. Higgins now.
Yeah.
It's an intriguing crew there.
No, I thought he was one of the steals of the draft from 2 years ago with T. Higgins. We saw what he did at Clemson. That was obvious. To me, Chase has got a little Steve Smith from Carolina prime in him. I mean, he's kind of got that type of game to me. He's so dynamic. And we know that this offense is going to be. In terms of flipping it to the other side, and then that's what needs to probably be improved. You mentioned that there's been investment there, Jeff. Who are some of the key guys that are going to have to be big and who you've gotten to look at in this brief, short offseason that we've had and say, okay, that's a step in the right direction defensively?
Yeah, look, if they're going to contend in this thing, I look at the defense because Baker's had great success against them. Chubb kills these guys. So does Hunt. They kill him, 4.8, 5.2 yards per. They've gouged him. That's why I thought they made a great pickup when they went and got one of your guys, Larry Ogunjobi, who I think is a great pickup. I think he's really going to help that run defense. Trey Hendrickson is a pass rush guy, but he also can set the edge. I think that what they haven't been able to do against Cleveland and Baltimore and Pittsburgh, they haven't been able to set the edge in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. I think now with Hendrickson, with some of the draft picks they've got guys like Sample, physical guys. They believe that can at first stop and run. They can also put heat on the passer. So, and I think they get beat. They get chewed up there in the fourth quarter against you guys. Their corners were they got Burrow should have had a win. Burrow should have had a comeback win against Cleveland and Paul Brown. It didn't happen because of Baker had a real nice drive there at the end of the game. Can't happen. They got 3 new starting corners, which I think is really big. I think they're different. They're just different on defense. They're more seasoned. I think they've also just been around. They've had more snaps together already now, as opposed to last year. The Ogunjobi, Trey Waynes, Chidobe Awuzie, the corner, the slot corner from Pittsburgh, Mike Hilton. They're just different. They're more seasoned and they're better.
Yeah, certainly some good names and a team that, like I said, I feel like people are sleeping on a little bit, especially in this division. I actually have the Bengals, and Beau and I, we talked about this, surprising some people and maybe even taking out the Steelers this year in the division, finishing in the top 3 here in the AFC North, perhaps with upside to do better, because I was so impressed with Burrow a year ago. It's going to come down to that D, and kind of like us, you mentioned all those new pieces. It's about gelling. How did you observe this team? Did you feel like they've already kind of got some camaraderie, or surprisingly so, thus far in the offseason?
Oh yeah, the fact, sure. The fact they showed up and they had perfect attendance.
Yep.
Voluntary, and that had to be pieced together, and that was pieced together by the players, by the coaches. Bottom line is they were there because they wanted to be there. And I think to a man, the guys you talked to, they said we don't want to go through what we went through the last 2 years and what we went through last year. They just don't want to go through it again, and they know the only way to do that is to get out there and work together. And numbers wise on paper, you got to look at on paper the changes they've made on defense, the people they've added. That's got to be they got to put them in the middle of the league, near the middle of the league. If that's the 18th best defense, the 17th best defense, and you pair it with an offense that could clearly score points, which they did with Burrow when Burrow was a rookie, another year under his belt, an added weapon, a revamped running game, and you pair that with a 16, 17, 18 defense, they're gonna run it 10 games.
Yeah, I think they're terrifying offensively.
I do too,
Jeff. I think they're just terrifying. I think if Burrow and everything I've heard from down there echoes what you said, that the arm looks lively, even more lively even perhaps than a year ago. Who knows? But to me, I think they're terrifying offensively and certainly headed very much in the right direction. Can you tell me a little bit about Zach Taylor and just how comfortable he is going into this year and a second year with Burrow and just kind of his mindset heading into it?
Yeah, I think he's, he feels like it's an important year. He knows you don't have to tell Zach Taylor he's won 6 games in 2 years. He gets that, but he's got a very good rapport with Burrow, very good relationship with him, and I think Burrow believes in what he's doing, which is, that obviously means everything. Burrow's an important guy in this thing. I mean, Jesse Bates pieced together as the representative of the Bengals representative for the NFLPA. Jesse, of course, was reaching out to his teammates as they crafted what they were going to do during for the off-season program. But the fact that Burrow showed up and was not going to do his rehab by himself, he went and did it with his team. That was a huge thing, and that obviously helped Zach. And I think Zach and Burrow are tight, and I think they really feel like they're as they say nowadays, on the same page. You can clearly say the quarterback and the head coach are.
Which is a good thing. Jeff, thank you so much for the time, and be sure to give our regards to our guy, Mr. Ogunjobi, down there. You guys got not only a good player, but he's a great person as well. I think you'll really enjoy talking to him.
Could be the first player in history to be a good guy consecutively in Cleveland and in Cincinnati. So we thank you for him, and we're going to be it's going to be a hell of a game with those 2 receivers and the Cleveland's 2 receivers and Baker and Burrow, and can't wait. Let's go.
Let's go.
There you go. Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining us, pal. Appreciate you.
Guys. Appreciate it.
All right, and good stuff there with the great Jeff Hobson. We're now communicating with Mr. Jeff Ruby.
That's right.
So we have that going on. I think we're trying to save a Cleveland location is what we're trying to do. I mean, that's what I'm efforting at this point. Is there any way that we can get that going? I mean, maybe we could be responsible for that.
We got to give a shout out, though, by the way, to Jared Luganbill, who connected us. He said, because he was the one who gave the shout out, said, "Hey, at the real Jeff Ruby, we're giving you some great advertising on Browns Daily. I think they deserve some free stuff." Now, we're just happy to be patrons, but we're not going to say no to
just happy to be patrons. Yeah, that's right.
Delicious free food. I was going to say no to that. I might even try Diane.
Yeah.
Mr. Ruby's dropping some big names, too.
He
He's
is.
like, ask my guy
The top
Hanford,
dog,
ask Baker.
We know the play. We don't need to know about it. We
know.
frequent it.
No,
I probably have.
No,
I probably have at least 6 meals in a Jeff Ruby steakhouse in Cincinnati under my belt. At least.
Yeah. Night before a Thursday night game. Jeff Ruby's.
You're all set.
Night out on the town.
Yeah, because then you could sleep in.
Well, the night started with me and Deke and a few other luminaries, and ended with a certain Hall of Fame coach from the Steelers who started his career with the Browns, jumping in the foray, and basically was like, "All right, youngins, you're out. Old dudes, we got this.
Let's go. Love it.
The old dogs to handle it. Still so much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. Oh, my goodness. And an incredible development on the NFL front. We'll get to it coming up next.
Let's go.
Cleveland. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio today for a free case review. Elk and Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. The huge news on the NFL front is that in 2022, NFL teams will be allowed to use alternate helmet colors again. Not this year, but next year, and that opens up a world of possibilities, kids.
Oh, my. This is the biggest news. I can't even think of what would be
so
bigger
exciting.
news. I'm so excited about this. It's all back
So
in
exciting.
play. Let's go. And while the Browns will have there's rumors that there could be some type of throwback. It won't help them this year, but I could see in the future perhaps an alternate color up there. And, I mean, think about what this does for teams like the Bucs, for the Patriots, where you can get creamsicles.
Broncos.
The Broncos. We can get that beautiful, beautiful light blue back. Oh, this is wonderful. And now I think it opens up things we haven't even seen before.
2 minutes.
That's the other part of it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think you could see, I mean, if you want to, you could get crazy at this point. Like, you could open up a Raiders black.
Of course. What about
49ers white?
Or
you could do
49ers black. What about when
they
they would wear their awesome color rush that was black with just red, those shiny red numbers, and they'd wear a gold helmet?
You know, I don't like that, but
I know, but it's still
the point is valid.
everybody does it.
Yeah,
everybody's
right. No,
doing
I agree. It opens all of it up, and it was always a silly rule anyway, done for CYA's sake, because the feeling was, okay, one shell, and they always tied it into concussions, which was silly. Like, college kids wear all sorts of different shells. Ohio State wears black helmet, that camo gray helmet.
Yes.
You can do anything you want, so there's no reason not to. And to open it up is really exciting. And yeah, I mean, the possibilities here are really cool. The possibilities around the league, though, that are known, and the three that come to mind are certainly Tampa Bay,
1 minute,
New England. Those are the ones that
old school
jump out at you.
Eagles and the Kelly Green. You can bring back that helmet and all these throwbacks
Silver
are in
hat.
play now.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's
It
go.
means like what you do on Madden when you play. The Seahawks could wear their blue and green with the silver hat.
Dave Craig,
Yeah.
Steve Largent,
The old Steve Largent.
Kenny
yeah.
Easley.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what it should be. It should be fun. It's like when you play Madden. Oh, let's wear these throwbacks.
Yes.
Now that's back.
Oh, boom.
Got to wait a year.
30 seconds.
Boy, a real treat on a Thursday.
Real treat.
All right, kids.